Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So I am pre-recording this episode just because I definitely wanted to see how this team simulates, but in last episode we had a pretty tough offseason. We let go of Boris Zikov, who was a long-time defenseman with us for like 10 seasons. We also let go of Harakala. Yeah, we brought back one defender on a cheaper contract because he was a former player of ours. That being Mikhail Kalinin coming back over to us just to help out our defensive core quite a bit, because or else we would have a very low overall rating on our defensive core. Like you can see right now, like without him, imagine we'd be basically running somebody probably lower than a 74 on that top six pairing. So it looks definitely a lot better with the addition of Kalinin, but it's still one of the worst defensive cores I think I've ever had on this team. So excited though to see what Danner does. We did extend this guy to a 6-year deal just because after losing a couple defenders like Zikov, Coley Minen, Harakala over these last 2 seasons, it made me realize we need to lock up somebody, because if we lose Danner, for example, we'd be relying on Denny and Boeister pretty much to carry us forward, which is not really a whole lot. So expecting some big stuff from Danner this year. He's only played 2 years in the NHL, but he has gotten better every single season offensively. So I am hoping that he could reach new heights this season and help carry our team from the back end. Goaltending looks solid still, and our forward core is going to be really good still. Obviously, a lot of these guys are locked up, but we do have pending free agents like Farrell, Wong, Bobkov, but pretty much the main core is locked up, which is good. We also did offer Claxon a contract extension at the end of last episode, so we'll see if he'll accept that. But in general, our offensive core is definitely, there's no problems with it for sure. It's just more about getting that defensive core to being better than it looks right now. And hopefully we could draft some good defensive prospects in the next few years as well to kind of help us out. But I don't really know if this team's a playoff team. If they are a playoff team, that would be great. If they're not a playoff team, then hopefully we have a really high up pick in the draft. Because if we have like a 15th overall pick, we're not going to find anything better than probably like a top 6 forward or a top 4 defender. But I'm hoping that we get like a top 5 pick so we can get one of these guys. Obviously, I have no idea what their potentials are on these guys, but it would be really nice to get one of these guys in if we are to miss the playoffs, and hopefully it's by a long shot if we miss the playoffs too. So, but anyways, before we get into simulating the season, we do have a few things we got to do. The first thing we got to do, we got to take a look at what our new players look like on the team. And then we'll also take a look at where our former players signed. And we'll also take a look in free agency again, just to see if there's still any former players there that we can sign to give us a little bit better depth. Because we could always bring back guys like Vandenbush and Walzer, who also left the team in the offseason if they're there, as like depth options. And then we could send down the guys that are currently scratched in the NHL. But let's take a look at some of these new faces on the team. So obviously Mikhail Kalinin is back. You guys already seen what he looks like. I don't think we took a look at Shannon Eichel yet, if I'm not mistaken. He played 12 games with us last season, and I'm pretty sure I don't remember looking at his face just because the bug was currently in the game, but now it has been fixed, so we will be able to see what all these players look like, which is good. So here is Shannon Eichel, rocking a really cool hairstyle. Love to see it. Also has that Brad Pitt looking face. I think that face kind of almost reminds me of Brad Pitt for some reason. I think that's who I'm thinking of. But there you go. There is Mr. Eichel. Then we have Tate Ackers, who might honestly get sent back down to the minors if we do find a former defender of ours in free agency still. But let's take a look at what he looks like. He looks pretty basic, nothing too special. Rocking the number 83. Interesting. So there is our defenders. We didn't take a look at Koskarana either, right? No, we didn't take a look at Koskarana either yet, because Koskarana only played 1 season, and once again, the bug was in the game at that point in time, but now it's been fixed, which is nice. Let's take a look at his face. Pretty basic. Looks like your standard Finnish guy. Nothing too special. Obviously, we could edit his gear at some point. He's wearing some Vaughn SLR equipment, it looks like, which is interesting. I actually do like the Vaughn SLR setup, so... But it's kind of weird that the game always still has all the pads being all black. Like, that's something that EA should be fixing right now, but they don't do that. Like, it should automatically get applied to the team's colors and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why they don't fix that. We have not taken a look at Svoboda. I don't think he's going to be really playing with us. He's a depth option right now. but might as well still take a look at him. And he is bald. He actually looks exactly like I think I made Brian Rafalski look like for one of my roster builds. Just kind of funny. So there is Jakub Svoboda, or Jacob Svoboda, probably Jakub though. Left wing wise, we haven't taken a look at Sergei Bobkov yet. This is his second season? Yeah, second season in the NHL. Hopefully he has a breakout year this year. Let's take a look at what this youngster looks like. He looks not like a youngster. He's got gray hair. What a surprise. 21 years old and already as gray as, I don't know, gray as a wolf, let's call him. Let's just call that guy, is he Russian? I just want to make sure he's Russian, not like Ukrainian. He's Russian, yeah, we'll call him like the Russian wolf or something, I don't know, since he's gray. Hargos doesn't matter too much, like he's a depth option right now, but he might get into our lineup, but I might take a look at him at a later point. Same with Stanley Burns, but I will take a look at the enforcer, Ethan Sabern. This guy was a 6th rounder of us, so for him to make the NHL, I am impressed. I am impressed. Let's see what he looks like, the enforcer. Looks like your standard black guy. So there you go. Wearing a number 76 in honor of probably PK Subban. Something like that. He does look like he has big shoulder pads as well. Yeah, this guy's definitely a monster. How tall is he? I didn't actually take a look. This guy is 6'1" only. Okay, looking bigger, but 212 pounds. So he is quite the big guy. Let's take a look at those physical attributes. 99 strength. Wow. And 89 aggressiveness. Yeah, this guy might take too much penalties this year, so we might have to scratch him at some point. And we've seen the rest of these guys, I'm pretty sure, on center. So there is that. Let's take a look at where our former players signed, because I am curious on that. And then we'll take a look and see if there's any former players still in free agency. If not, we will simulate the season and hope that this team does something interesting this year. So I wasn't going to go to the edit line screen. I wanted to go to the player search option. That's what I wanted to go, because it's easier than looking through lines constantly and trying to find out where they went. So we'll start off with Harakala. Where did Harakala sign? Sucked to let go of Harakala since he was a former first overall pick, but he didn't really live up to that expectation. I misspelled his name now. I think it's 2 Ks, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like that. Yeah, there you go. He signed with the Vancouver Canucks. 15.905 for the next 7 years. I am glad I escaped that contract, because I don't think he's worth that type of money. That's almost similar to Coley Minen's deal with the Boston Bruins, but Coley Minen, I think, was more worth the money than Harakala was. Damn. So he goes to the Vancouver Canucks, and then I don't think I'm going to check Vandenbush and Walzer, because I feel like they might be still free agents, but let's take a look at where Zykov went. And also, there was also Sean Cox, who I let go of. I forgot to mention about that, our former goaltender. We'll see where he signed too. And Boris Zykov goes to the Seattle Kraken. The question is, how much is he going to get paid? Since Eric Hallett made $15 million, this is probably going to be like close to a $20 million contract, my guess. 17.48, not bad. I would definitely take him over Harakala for a little bit more in 7 years as well. So there's a good chance that a lot of these guys won't ever come back to our team, which is unfortunate. But there you go. Boris Zykov, now a member of the Seattle Kraken. Sucks that both those guys are in the Western Conference since we are. And finally, we take a look at Sean Cox, the former goalie of ours that's been terrible. He's probably going to go on to win a Vezina, knowing my luck. Let's see where he signed. He signed with Washington. And he's only getting $5 million. We could have probably afforded to bring him back, but I don't think he's worth it. His potential dropped down to medium starter, but he is going to be a goaltender for the Capitals this season. Watch, he's going to go on to win a Vezina this year. I feel like that's definitely going to be the case. So there you go. On that front, it looks like the other Cox that we used to have in our bottom six must have already retired. Or no, it's this guy, right? Oh, yeah, it's this guy. Yeah, Jeff Cox is still a free agent. Wouldn't be bad bringing him back, but we don't have really the roster space for him on the offense. Like, it'd be more of a defender if I wanted to bring back a former player. So let's take a quick look at that. And if there is somebody, maybe I'll bring them back. Strachan at $3 million. Interesting. Strachan at $3 million for 1 year. Definitely would be a lot better on that top six probably than the other dude. That's a 74. Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring that guy, bring back Keegan Strachan. We bought him out, so hopefully there's no bad blood with him. But bringing him in for 1 year, just to round out that top six, I think that's okay since we have the cap space. So we'll advance a few days and see if we get Strachan back. But I'm not gonna bring back any other former players at the moment. Let's see. Strachan has accepted. Perfect. And Claxton accepts the contract extension we gave him at the end of the last episode, so that is great news. And we'll go to, in the system, we'll call up Strachan. And then we will send down, I guess we could send down one of those depth forwards, to be honest. So we will send down, because I could use Ackers as a depth defenseman. I'll send down, I guess, Faboda since he's a 75. So, and then we'll take Ackers out of the lineup. Hopefully this doesn't screw up chemistry. Throw in Strachan. Hey, that makes it better. Good. So our team has improved a little bit. It doesn't look as bad as I was expecting, but still that defensive core, if it could win us a Stanley Cup, I will laugh considering we've lost like 3 elite defenders in the last year and a half or 2 years. So yeah, let's begin this sim up to the start of the regular season and see what this team is like, because I honestly have no expectation with this team. I kind of want playoffs, obviously, because who knows once you get into the playoffs, you can win the Stanley Cup. But also, getting a lottery pick could be good for this team. But, yeah, we don't have a whole lot of time left to be a competitive team. And like I said, I think we only have a couple seasons left of this, like 7 or so seasons. So let's get this preseason done, see how we do. Which right now we're killing the preseason, but how is the regular season going to be is the question. So we go a total of 5-2-1 in the preseason, which is pretty solid indeed. Leading the team in points, Avery Parrott. Glad I still have Parrott locked up because Parrott at least should help our team out offensively quite a bit. So yeah, let's sim up to the start of the regular season and begin the simulation and see what this team does in 82 games. We'll do halfway through the season so we can kind of take a little look back at our team just to see if there's anything we need to do in terms of changes in our lineup. But for right now, let's go all the way to January the 1st and see how we're doing at the halfway point almost. But yeah, I don't really know if this team makes the playoffs with this defensive core, but if we do, then who knows what happens once we get there, you know? Like, there's not really a huge expectation with this team. I get that we went to the Cup Finals 2 years ago, but we got to realize that we let go of a couple elite defenders, so this team should probably be taking a little bit of a step back. But there was no way we'd be able to afford both those type of guys. Like, the 3 defenders that we lost are all making over $15 million. And yeah, there would be no way to afford all that, especially with the offensive core we have. So we would have had to let go of somebody like Parrott or Keith, and I think that would be more detrimental to this team than losing a defenseman. And I have seen teams with really bad defensive cores win Stanley Cups in this franchise mode type of thing. So I'm not too worried about having a bad defensive core, at least for now. Yeah, our offense is definitely carrying the boat right now. We had a 7-0 win, and we lost 6-5. Yeah, we're not doing too great right now in our division. It seems to be a bit of a tough division, but we have a winning record, which is interesting. Like I said, I don't want to be really a tweener team, though, either. Because being a tweener team would not be great, because it would mean a bad pick. And Hartnell's over point per game. See, that's why I extended this guy for 6 years. Because if I didn't extend him for 6 years, he'd be basically a pending UFA after the season. And he'd be demanding a lot of money probably at this rate, and we'd probably lose him. So I am glad I signed him for that much term. We're only 2 points back of a playoff spot with 2 games in hand as well. But our division is quite tight. As you can see, there's only 7 points separating 8th place and 2nd place. I can't see 1st place. Oh, there it is, 45 points. But yeah, a very tight division right now. So anything can pretty much happen at this rate. Do I want to just keep simulating? I think so. I don't really want to take a look at player stats till the end of the season, so... Because it'd be interesting to see if there's any really madly minus players, but at the same time, I just don't really want to make any changes and also take a look at player stats and kind of see who's doing what, because I want to kind of leave that till the end of the season, because it's always really interesting when you see, oh, look, so-and-so scored 50 goals, you know? It's just better to wait right till the end of the year. Kind of streaky, though. Wins and losses back and forth quite a bit this season, so... All things considered, I think this is doing an okay job this season. But like I said, I don't like to be a tweener team, though. Like, if we just barely miss the playoffs, it's going to be really not that great. 27, 17, and 6. We've opened it up. We are actually first place in our division now. Okay, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to be first place at the end of the month. We are... Wow, our division is so tight. Oh my god. 9 points only separate 8th place and first place. So pretty much the fate is in our hands if we want to be a playoff team or not. So hopefully the team could manage to keep doing this. And Hartnell's still over point per game, which is great to see. Especially after giving him a contract extension. Because sometimes that doesn't work out that well. But right now it is. Yeah, our division is crazy. Last playoff spot has 58 points in our division. Last playoff spot in the Western Conference has 55 points. So we're in a good spot, but we need to keep our foot on the gas, so to speak. Let's see if we can keep on winning more games. Let's do another month all the way to March the 1st. Get some more wins under our belt, and hopefully we can keep holding on to this division lead. But then again, if we win the division, I feel like we're going to be a first-round exit. So I don't really know where I want to finish in terms of the standings and making the playoffs. 8-0 win, damn. Yeah, our team's definitely killing it offensively, as to be expected. Hopefully Danner's having a breakout year from the back end, because I did lock him up as well, and that would be great news to me if he did really do well this season. So 35, 20, and 9 at a day before the deadline. And yeah, Hartnell's already at 70 points. I am so glad I locked him up. I am really glad. His contract isn't outrageous either, I'd say. But obviously it's going to hurt us in terms of the cap space this upcoming offseason. But I mean, I'd rather hold on to Hartnell than hold on to like Wong for next year or Farrell, for example. So really glad with Hartnell's performance so far. And we've kind of opened it up. We have a 7-point lead on the last wildcard spot in our division and a 9-point lead on the last wildcard spot in the Western Conference. So we're in a good spot, I think, to keep on simulating. Obviously, we can't make trades anyways, but let's get the rest of the season simulated. Well, actually, let's go to April the 1st, but let's hope that this team could keep on the gas pedal and make these playoffs, because if we fall apart and miss the playoffs now, that would be even worse. But it seems like we're getting a good amount of shutouts, which is kind of surprising. Polk Olsen on waivers. I don't claim players even though this is a draft of glory. There's 3 straight shutouts. What the heck? And then we lost by a shutout. 3 straight shutout performances from this team. Despite having a weak defensive core, we are actually doing really good goalie-wise. Like Koskarena might be having a really good year. Unless for some reason Aiden Taze is killing it as the backup. But it looks like Koskarena is breaking out this year, which is great for us. And yeah, we should probably be a playoff team at this rate since we have already 40 wins. 43, 24, 9. We have clinched a playoff spot already, I think. No, we have not. It was the Hurricanes that saw that clinch. But we are very close to clinching, I think. We're 10 points up on a wildcard spot. We just can't lose every single game down the stretch. Hartnell slowed down a bit, but he's still over point per game with 6 games to go. So the depth scoring on this team is probably pretty solid as well if he's only got 79 points. Let's get the rest of the season done with. But it looks like we're going to be a playoff team this year, which is great. Yep, there's 2 more wins. We are definitely a playoff team, which is awesome to see. Last game of the year against the Oilers on home ice. We lose 2-0. 46, 26, and 10. A lot better than I expected considering the losses we have. We won our division after losing our top 2 defenders. Overall wise, at least. That is impressive. And Hartnell finished with 84 points in 82 games. So the depth scoring on this team probably pretty solid. Let me get the AI teams all simmed up. There you go. So yeah, we won with 102 points, which has us also top 10 or top 5 in the league, I think, in points. Damn, I really didn't expect our team to do this well this year. Like those defensive losses, I thought would definitely hurt us, but it did not. It seems like Koskarena must have had a really good year, or Taze had a really good year, but one of the goalies had a lot of shutouts. So let's take a look at our team stats here. We finished 6th best in the entire league, so almost top 5. But still, really good season from this team, all things considered. Goals for per game, we were one of the best offensive teams, which means our depth scoring is going to be really good, I think, considering only one guy was over point per game, it looks like. And goals against per game wise, we were the 4th or 5th best defensive team in the league. So we were good offensively, good defensively. That is great news. Power play percentage, obviously not that great. So we could probably work on our special teams, but a little around mid-table. 17.8, I think it said. Didn't I see 17.8? Oh, yeah, right there. Tied with Pittsburgh and Toronto. Not bad. Penalty kill. Oof. Our penalty kill was second worst in the league, yet we were one of the best defensive teams. So if we get that penalty kill better, that's a good sign. We also had 9 short-handed goals this year, which is up there in the top 10. 23, 15, and 3 on home ice, 23, 11, and 7 on the road, 6, 3, and 1 in our last 10 games. So losing Cox might have helped out this team quite a bit as well. Let's take a look at these player stats. So yeah, Hartnell, 84 points, plus 19. Really good season from him. I am really glad I locked him up. That is a career high for him. In goals, it's just below his career high, but point-wise, it's his career high. So there you go on Ricardo Hartnell. Derek Keith, 82 points this year. Still really good. Maybe a Selke candidate. We'll have to take a look at his takeaways and face-off numbers here shortly. Let's actually do it in this screen, so that way it's not scrolled over on the other screen. Face-off-wise, 54.21 is pretty good. 73 takeaways. Probably not going to win a Selke, but if he does, that'd be great. But don't think he's going to win another Selke. He's already 28. Man, time flies with some of these guys. Parrott had 45 goals this year, only 71 points, so a little bit of regression, but 45 goals. He's now up to 511 goals, which means I think he's very close. Like, he's into the final 100 and something goals, where he might end up being our best goal scorer of all time for a little bit before probably Asher Vance takes over in Chicago. Just because, yeah, I think he's closing in on Gene Thornton. I think Gene Thornton had over 600 goals, if I'm not mistaken. So Parrott's getting close to that, but he won't hold on to the reins too long. Like I said, Asher Vance is definitely going to easily get to 600 goals in Chicago. Claxton, 60 points this year. That's why I extended him for his asking price. This guy's been a very, very solid player for a second rounder. Glad I'm holding on to him for another 6 seasons, I think I said, so until he's like retirement age. Hopefully he doesn't drop off too hard. Farrell, only 38 points, but he didn't really get a lot of ice time this year, so I will take it. Still really solid. Wong had 23 goals all of a sudden, which is interesting. He only assigned to a 1-year deal, so he might demand a lot of money, which means he might be gone this offseason. Malik Reinhardt, 30 points. Pretty good. 18 goals. So pretty good from the fourth liner. Left wing rise, Ted Darby, 57 points. Not bad. He's not on a bad contract either, so I will take it. Bobkov had 4 goals and 45 assists. Damn, this guy does not score goals. He's a pure playmaker. Yeah, it's kind of something we could use anyways. So put him next to a good sniper, and good things will happen. But only 4 goals in 82 games is pretty crazy. Ethan Sabrin, 8 points in 82 games. 72 penalty minutes, not bad for the enforcer. Plus 13 as well. Probably because he was in the box a fair amount. How much fights did he have? 8 fights. So he had 8 fights, which is 8 times 5, which 8 times 5 is 40, I think. Wait, yeah, I think so. I think it's 40, which means half of his penalty minutes were fights related. Right wing wise, Jorgensen hit 60 points this year, a -6. He is regressing really hardly. He's going to retire at 35, guys, which means only 2 more years left of Jorgensen, which I mean is good for our cap situation. But also, this guy he's not necessarily, I wouldn't call him a channel legend. He might make the channel Hall of Fame at some point, but yeah, being an 82 at 33, he's definitely retiring. I think at 35, he's regressing really hard. Like, he's now listed as a third line scorer, so I might honestly move him to the third line, move Bobkov up to the top 6, since Bobkov's a playmaker as well. LaRose had 46 points this year. That's a very good season for him. Normally he's not a huge point producer, but he like more than doubled his point producing from last year. Also broke out for 22 goals. It's pretty good. Danner, 40 points and a plus 26. Not exactly what I was expecting from him, but still he's doing relatively good. And obviously, like, locking him up is important, I think, for this team. So I'm glad I still signed him. 32 points from Bomeister is really good, plus 21. Eichel had 24 points. Denny had 23. Still an 82. Kalinin was plus 22. Yeah, our defensive core actually did a lot better than I expected. I think the addition of Strachan helped out a little bit as well in that top 6. And then Koskarana had 8 shutouts this year. Only a 909 and a 271, but 8 shutouts in his second NHL season. And he also improved upon last year's regular season because the save percentage is better by quite a bit. Goals against is a little bit better as well. Pretty solid from Koskarena. And then Taves was not great as the backup, but at least he's only signed for 1 year. Koskarena also had 4 assists this season. So I'm really liking Koskarena's play. Definitely a lot better than Sean Cox, probably. If Sean Cox won a Vezina this year, though, that would be pretty funny. Let's take a look at player stats around the league. So the best forward in terms of points, Casey Dawes in Ottawa. And then Colin Schneider in Arizona, who knocked us out last year. And then Ulf Magnusson, who signed with the Chicago Blackhawks as a free agent, leaving Vancouver. So that's what Vancouver did with all that extra cap space. Is they basically let go of Magnuson, and they brought in Harakala on defense. Another 50-goal season for this guy. This guy's outrageous. But yeah, he signed a big contract in Chicago. So there is all of that. Let's see, the best goal scorer. It's going to be Lowry with 60 goals. Damn, we could have drafted this guy, but we didn't. But oh well. And then Frederick Bickle was top 5 in goals, our former player. Still there in Dallas for another 2 seasons. Making 17.465. Damn. We might be able to bring him in at some point if his asking price drops. But Parrott at least was top 10 in goals, which is nice to see. Selke candidates actually first before we take a look at defensive points. Yeah, it's going to be Clarence 90. 147 takeaways and a 55.9% on the draw. Or it actually might end up being Edwin McEachern. This guy was 58% on the draw and had 136 takeaways. So I'd say it's probably between 90 and McEachern for the Selke this season. Best defenseman point-wise is Silas Sidhu in Toronto with 64 points. And then next to him, Boris Ikov, our former player. I almost thought he was on our team for a second. It sucked to let him go. But he did regress a little bit offensively and defensively. But I don't really know if he's still really worth that type of money. But good luck for him in Seattle. We might have to play him in the playoffs at some point. Oh, that's weird. Okay, best goalie this season for wins, Elliot Kamachi in Buffalo. Most shutouts by a goalie, Koskarena for us, tied with Ekblad in Tampa. Best save percentage by a starter, Ekblad in Tampa. And best goals against average by a starter, Ekblad in Tampa. Ekblad is going to win likely the Vezina this year. Not the best win record, but still really good save percentage, goals against, and shutouts even. Most goalie assists this season, Koskarena is tied for first with Zinger and Kosa. And no goalie goals. Best rookie this season, Kravchenko in Winnipeg. Ben DeHaan up there as well. That type of thing. So there we go. Who are we going to be facing in the first round of the playoffs? That is my question. And are we going to be able to win despite winning our division? We're going to be taking on the Dallas Stars, which means we're taking on Frederick Bickle. Oh boy. Frederick Bickle, huh? Also, Seattle's playing Vegas, so that's where Zikov is playing right now. Let's take a look. Who else is in the playoffs for us, former player-wise? Washington made it, so Cox actually got to the playoffs this year with Washington. And also Coley Minon's in the playoffs, too. A lot of former players in the playoffs. But Dallas went 41, 28, and 13, so I don't know how they made the playoffs. But if we lose this round, that is not looking too good. I think the game is going to definitely give them the win, though, just based on their record. I could see it happening, us being a first-round exit after a good season. So, Frederick Bickle on the first line, of course, our former player. Did he play in the playoffs last year? He did. He had 9 points in 6 games. He hasn't played much in the playoffs since leaving us, which is interesting. But there he is. They also have Connor Levis, or Levi. Jamie Pope, a second line of John Boscheman, Jacob Arsene, and Amrit Gerbe. Gerbe, not Gerbe. Why did I say Gerbe? Maybe Gerber and Gerbe mixed? I don't know. Stéphane Cloutier, Elias Kostopoulos, and Patrick Hodgson. And a fourth line is Georges Desbiens, William Vickers, and Hunter Habscheid. Yeah, that forward core is not good. I don't know how they made it into the playoffs. Like, they have a good top line and some really good centers, but like when you're running a 77, a 75, a 76, a 77, a 75, and a 78 in your lineup, yeah, I can see why you have problems. Defensively, though, still some problems. Yeah, we're gonna get cheesed here. We're gonna get cheesed, guys. I feel the cheese in this game right now. I could feel it. Devin Lawrence, who's an 89. Braylon Connor, 78 on the top pairing. Alvin McInnes is 75. Harrison Arnott, 78. Ricard Lettinen, we could say the son of former player Yuri Lettinen, on that top 6. And Austin Pusher. A lot of you guys don't know who this is, but he was a third rounder for us that I didn't think was going to make the NHL ever. Despite being only a 75, he signed with some teams and found his way to the NHL for the last 3 years. I am surprised. He had 28 points this year. That's interesting, but I feel like we're going to get cheese, but still our former defender down there on the top 6 is kind of funny. Never played a game with us, I'm pretty sure. They also have Mark Gauthier and Jimmy Tarnaski as their goaltenders. Yeah, this is a weak team. Caffrey and Wood. Yeah, we're going to get cheesed. Man, Bickle is going to go off. Pope is going to go off. And Pope is also wearing 69, which is kind of funny. Our scene's going to be good. Like I feel like we're going to get cheese. This team does not look like they should be a playoff team, but they have some really good pieces. It's just a lot of their depth is not good. So if we get the first round win, that'd be great. But I feel like we're going to get cheese somehow because just the game be like that sometimes. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to round 1 against Frederick Bickle and the Dallas Stars as we look to find a way to get our team to the second round and beyond again. Obviously, now that we're in the playoffs, we got to find ways to win games like we've done the last 2 seasons. So guys, think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.